I'm not fat, I'm slim, thick. Nah, you're sick. I don't understand. We have a heat debate on body positivity. I guess I could watch it if you want me to.
People you see make it to 70, 80, 90 who are obese. I can't think.
Hey, those numbers are overrated, brother. I rather sit on like a. I don't want to be that old. Give me a nice 60, 65. You know.
Of one. As you get older, all that talk is not cute no more. You cutting off ankles. You cutting off limbs.
Everything hurts.
This is a sickness.
It's not a sickness.
It is a sickness.
No.
Literally.
No, it's not.
Could be. I don't know.
I just want to show Abba something, and I want to show you guys something, because it's something I was on social media. I was scrolling on my social media, and I encountered something, and it made me chuckle. And I want to show Abba, because I want to see if he's going to chuckle as me, or if it's just me that just think things are funny. Okay, so all right. So there was this fashion show of, you know, body positivity. You know what I mean? Okay. Swim thick. Boom. Right.
She looks good. She looks good.
Boom. Right.
Okay, she looks good.
Boom.
Look good. You're looking pretty good. I'm liking this fashion show. It's the first fashion show that I've enjoyed personally. You know, it's just my preference.
All right. Boom. All right. Boom.
All right. These are all pretty cute girls.
Boom. Show me when you see something funny. All right. Boom. All right. Boom.
What's I guess it's kind of funny that says slim thick, but okay, who cares?
Did you see it?
I did see it.
Body positivity.
I saw the very muscular black guy in the back with the thick girls. You know, okay.
Did you see it?
All right.
I did see it.
Body positivity, bro. Body positivity. You give me this? Whose man is this?
Me.
Whose man is this? And look.
You know, I will say one thing though, because like, okay, so for real, obviously, like, let's be honest here, and I like big women and all that, I do, but when it comes to that, that's just pushing the idea. That's more of like a cope from bigger women, not from bigger women, but from like the scene that's like, we can get a muscular guy, and you probably can. Those big women like seem to be kind of fit, to be honest with you. They seem pretty fit. Like, I'm not trying to be like, you can be big and fit. Like, if you put a lot of effort into it, you could be like a big guy that's also fit. But it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, we can get a hot guy. We can get a muscular man. You know, you might be able to. I mean, I personally would try to, you know, stick to your number. You know, okay, that's fine. I will say one thing though, is that like there isn't a lot of male bigness representation, but I also don't see a lot of men asking for bigness representation in the same way that women do, you know? I think that's because like it's just a societal thing, bro, where women tend to be more valued on their looks in society, so, you know, women are like obsessed, you know, with this kind of shit. Which makes sense. You know, guys, nobody really cares. I mean, we talk about this all the time. How many sitcoms do you know where there's like a fat husband and like a thin, hot wife? Like King of Queens, The Flintstones. I know there's plenty of them. It's like all of every show in the 90s, you know? So, okay. All right. But so far, I'm chilling.
Is there swim thick on his trunk? Thick where? Probably
got a thick pee-pee.
His dick?
Maybe. Good for that
There's
guy.
no moral of the story. I think, I'm just going to put it out there. This is it. I don't expect you to say nothing. Yeah, I mean, usual, that's fine. I just want to put it out there. That shit was funny.
Some of these women weren't slim thick. Some of them were just fat. Like, I know you were thinking about the black dude. I really don't care about that part. It's just like, I see these kinds of events and I find them cringe.
Why is it cringe?
I find it cringe. It's one thing if the ladies are thick or, you know, thicker than you have. That's fine. Some of them are just straight up fat. Like,
so what?
So what? This whole thing about
why does it matter? Like, who cares?
Celebrating this stuff, like, no, these people are like killing themselves, at risk for a whole bunch of other shit. I was like,
this is the thing that's like annoying, because it's like there's a line between celebrating fatness and just like fat representation. Like, whether you want to hear it or not, fat people do exist. There's like there's a number of reasons why. Obviously, bad diet is one of them. But there's a lot of people, especially like women, who are like, they just, you know, beauty standards can be very intense on them. And it feels nice for bigger women to be like, oh, I'm allowed to exist as a person. That's it. That's all it really is. So there's some thicker women, and it's kind of annoying that like we never talk about on both sides. You can be healthy and fat, bro. Like not at my weight, but like you could put in the work and be healthy and fat. And some of those girls are probably healthy and fat. Like I just want you to be aware of this, right? The problem is most people who are fat nowadays are fat because they're eating like shit. But you can be like, you could have fat on you and be healthy. Like it does exist. I mean, I hope that's it. Yeah, it's really that simple. Morbidly obese is obviously like a problem. But like, you could be healthy and have some fat on you, and those girls don't look like they would be like in any significantly bad area. Yeah. So, yeah.
Like, no, don't celebrate. The same way we shouldn't be celebrating someone who's bone thick because they're taking a bunch of drugs. Like, it's stupid. It's dumb. Let's be honest, it's dumb. It's dumb, and we're just doing this whole like complacency thing where it's like, ugh. You wanted to say don't go out of your way to make fun of people when they're that weight, sure. You want to say don't shame people, sure. But this whole like propping this up, I find it so cringe.
And you know what I find cringe about this argument too is that like we shit on fat people, which I get it, but like we don't shit on bodybuilders. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but taking tea to the level that some of these big motherfuckers take is not healthy. Probably less healthy than being this fat. And I say, God bless you. Do your thing. Be competitive in whatever sport you want. But when you have these like big strain sports or bodybuilding sports, and people are taking all like they're not just taking tests, you know, they take like test Anavar. They're on all these fucking different drugs. They're putting like you. I've watched like Jay Cutler talk about how like he's like, yeah, you know, if you said something to me when I was younger, if I was going to lose 10 years off my life by doing a sport the way that I want to do it, like, would I still do it? You know, they're open about how, like, fucked up they get from using all the shit that they're on. But we're like, no, those are good. Those are good. Those are good. And, like, I get it. They put in a lot of hard work. But at the end of the day, if you're going to go with, like, the health craze, if you're going to be like, oh, health, why aren't you criticizing them? It's because, like, you don't really give a fuck about health. It's because fat people are gross to look at. That's really what it comes down to, bro. No, bodybuilders don't get crashed at all. Stop with that bullshit. The small pee-pee jokes, that's not trashing them for their health, all right? That's more of a joke about, like, how tests, like, makes your balls shrink. And again, like, bro, listen, we shouldn't be advocating for people to be fat. But, like, at the same time, like, you know, keep it consistent. Like, a lot of people, glorify people that are, like, in bodybuilding and shit. So, like, what the fuck? I mean, why do you care so much? That's what it really comes down to. It's just some fat women at a show with a slim, thick shirt on there. And now we got to do like a whole commentary on it. It just seems kind of fucking. It just seems kind of like weird and obsessed.
You think it's cringe?
Absolutely. It's one of the cringiest things. It's like, no, this is a sickness.
It's not a sickness.
It is a sickness.
Could be a sickness. It could be an eating disorder, depending. You know, a lot of people will emotionally like stress eat and whatnot. Sure. But the thing is that like people who stress eat, it doesn't help them by shaming them, because if it did, there'd be no fat people, obviously, because society shames the fuck out of fat people. So it doesn't help, right? There's never usually like an offer of a solution on how to help people lose weight when it comes to like criticizing people who are overweight. It usually just comes with like, oh, we shouldn't glorify this, and then there's just no conversation about like the small steps you could take. Like, hey, go for a half-hour walk every day, guys. Like that's a great first start. Drink water instead of soda. You know what I mean? It's a great first start. Shit like that. You know, try to eat some, you know, a serving of vegetables with every meal. You know, like that's the high micronutrient dense food, and it'll keep you fuller, so you won't eat less like all other shitty foods. You know?
No,
literally, obesity is a sickness.
No, it's not.
It could be. It's like a symptom. It could be a symptom of a sickness. It depends on people. Like some people are just lazy, but then some people like stress eat. You know? Again, it's not about saying that it's okay to eat like shit. It's just about like, it's mostly about fat women just not feeling like shit for existing. I mean, it really is just that simple, bro.
Go ahead. Say this you want to say.
There's nothing to say.
What, you don't think it's a sickness?
No, it's not.
Okay, what is it then?
It's just a thing.
You think obesity is just a thing? I know you're trolling.
Yeah, I'm like, you really take me serious?
No, because I'm trying to be serious, but go ahead. You want to say something?
No, it's just that the thing is, I understand why people are there. Like, it's not because someone is absolutely considered obese that they're inherently not in a good shape. I understand that, okay? I understand that. And it's not because that happens that... It's not because that we have to, like you said, shame or this and that. And they have to be proud because while they're in a good shape. So let's not shame and let's not, you know, it's just... I understand the body positivity movement in that sense. And then there's others there's other senses and the other side, of course, that's just like everybody's beautiful in there. No, I cannot be. I'm not going to talk for other people because I don't know their business. I can only talk for myself. So when the body positivity movement says everybody is beautiful and it's okay to be at any weight, that's where I got a problem. Just for me personally, I cannot, and I ensure you cannot be over a certain weight, or else I am dying.
From what?
Sure, yeah, it's not healthy. Again, the point of like the beauty at every size is just so that people don't feel shamed to death. Like, I'm gonna be real with you, bro. Again, like, obesity is a symptom of a greater problem, of like a very unhealthy society when it comes to like eating, processing stress. There's less exercise and shit. There's a lot of problems we have with society that obviously needs to be course corrected. But those problems exist, and they've created fat people, right? That's pretty much what happens. And now it's more about like, okay, how do we make fat people not want to kill themselves? Because they're fat people. Well, we already are. Am I right? It's not having a positive outcome to shame the existence of fat people. That's it. You know what I mean? We should have really good conversations about healthy eating. But like, it's not about, when they say fat people are beautiful, it's not about saying you should find them beautiful. It's more about like just a fat person not like being more depressed. You guys ever watch Austin Powers? You remember when Fat Bastard says, I eat because I'm unhappy and I'm unhappy because I eat? That's a very real cycle. All right. This is the truest words I've ever heard. It's a real cycle. So when you make fat people less happy, they're just going to eat more. And I know what you're going to say is like, oh, if we could, this is the biggest problem with fat people is that like, you need to be fat and happy or fat and sad. You know what I mean? The idea is just to help fat people feel comfortable in their body so that they can like themselves more, so they can feel more motivated to like move around in society and be less depressed. That's all it is. My wife says, it's so stupid. I feel like someone who loves themselves is more likely to make healthy changes. I just hate everybody. Yeah, that's the problem. And we're always kind of weighing in like, what triggered this event? Some fat girls walking around and they call themselves slim thick. Not to be an asshole. But like, it's so easy to dunk on fat people. I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying. You know, I hope that here's the one thing I want to say. I hope that at some point in this video, Abba and Preach actually give advice to lose weight, because I've noticed one thing where like people love to dunk on fat people, but I never see anybody give any reasonable criticisms or like reasonable steps to lose weight as a fat person. Like I said, cut out any soda, even if you're on diet soda, drink water. That's a nice first step. Have like a serving of vegetables, go for that 20 to 30 minute walk every day. Small steps. Do one of those things for 3 weeks, and then after 3 weeks, do another one of those things for 3 weeks. You know? That's probably my biggest criticism, is that like in the criticism of fat people, there's never a like, here's what you can do if you don't want to be fat. That's the one thing that bothers me probably more than anything else.
High blood pressure, cholesterol, all of that.
Absolutely. I have all those things. Like, it's not good to be fat, like how fat I am. But those women aren't as big as me. I'm 6'4", 350. Those women are like thinner, and they probably do like work out for modeling in some capacity. Like, that's another problem. It's like when you're fat like me, bro, you're going to have health problems. But like, not everybody who looks fat is going to have a fucking health problem. I'm being 100% real. Like, just because you have some fat on you doesn't mean you're unhealthy. It's more about like your diet. You can be overweight and have a decent diet. It's not common, but it's possible. And like, it's probably possible for people in that. Like, when I was 330 doing strongman training, I was the healthiest I was ever in my entire life. And it's like, I know you could be fat and be healthy, and nobody ever talks about that shit either, bro. A lot of it just comes down to like, ew, look. Like, a lot of it comes down to like, I think fat people are disgusting. Oh, like one of their issues is like, you know, beauty at every size. Oh, I just can't get along with that. It's like, well, I feel like sometimes we think too much about what we want to fuck in society as like how the standards should work. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying, dude. Come on. You know? I'm just saying. Go to your doctor. Go to the doctor. You know what I mean? Go to the doctor and do what they tell you when it comes to being healthy. And as long as your levels are in a good range, do that. Walk every day. It's okay to be a little overweight. It's okay to have 30, 40, 50 extra pounds on you. I know that our BMI scale is not exactly the best, you know? How does BMI even work? I don't know, but I know that there's like a study that talks about how being overweight compared to BMI, which isn't saying much, is like a little healthier than being like normal weight, because BMI is like very skewed in a weird direction, you know? I don't know what the BMI classification is. I mean, it's probably not that, it's probably pretty crazy, but, yeah. Yeah, it's like the study confirmed that compared to normal weight individuals, all-cause mortality was increased for underweight people, lower for those who are overweight, obese, or severely obese. Being overweight, BMI category were associated with lower risk at major. I think it's really just saying that, like, being overweight on BMI. My point is that, like, not, I'm just saying, bro, you could be a little chunky, and it's not going to fucking kill you. Okay?
I understand where they're from. It's just there is again, like any fucking movements, there is a lot of truth in what they say, and then they hit the spot where they go overboard and they're like, yeah, well, you're generalizing everything, and it makes no sense. So I can't judge for these ladies and be like, yeah,
what's the overboard?
And then there is again, like extra cholesterol, all of that. I am dying. Cannot okay to be at any weight. For the body positivity movement says everybody is beautiful, and it's okay to be at any weight. That's where I got a problem.
Okay, sure.
Movements, there is a lot of truth in what they say, and then they hit the spot where they go overboard and they're like, yeah, well, you're generalizing everything. And
I think when Preach was criticizing beauty at every size, he was referring to people who are morbidly obese. But the problem is that they're criticizing these women and they're calling them all fat, or some of them are slim thick, some of them are fat. These women, none of them look unhealthy, to be honest with you. So
it makes no sense. So I can't judge for these ladies and be like, yeah, you're absolutely obese or whatever. Maybe they ain't got no problem. I'm not the one to judge. I'm gonna talk about me. I can only talk about me.
Sure, you know, some people do drugs and they're not unhealthy or they're not losing their lives. Absolutely. But one of the biggest indicators of shorter life expectancies is being obese. I'm not talking about like based on the BMI thing. Bro. I'm about like actually properly obese. Like, we need to stop this whole thing.
Well, I mean, like, where do you draw the line though? Like, what is obese to you if it's not based on like the BMI scale? I'm just genuinely curious to that question.
Like, it's fine. You don't want to go out of your way to bully. That's fine. I'm not going on fucking girls' Instagram page like you're so. I would never do that. But I don't understand this celebration of this thing. We're like, oh my God, be proud of what? What are you proud of? Gluttony? Listen.
I wonder, like, I agree with that. Where did they say that they were proud? I don't know, bro. It just, where, I don't know. Where, I guess because they're saying slim thick, they're celebrating their fatness, I guess is an argument.
For some of you guys, maybe it's harder than that. Maybe it's not even gluttony. Maybe it's like you have a tremendously hard whatever you do, and your doctor says you need a gastric bypass, whatever the fuck it is. Fine, but I'm not going to celebrate what is a sickness.
Yeah, but it's more. I think it's more complex than that. There's some people that have conditions. Like if you take an example, lipedema. Lipedema is a condition that much more people than we think have, and that condition is that your body amasses fat. It just amasses fat. It has nothing to do.
I mean, technically, there's nothing that you can ever have that's going to make it impossible to lose weight. Like, your body is calories in, calories out. It's just like a lot of it's like a coping mechanism. Like, I know for me personally, if I'm not like, you know, if I'm not smoking cigarettes, I'm eating food. You know what I mean? Like, I have like unhealthy habits. A lot of it's a stress thing. A lot of it's a stress thing, and a lot of it's just like a lack of activity in society thing nowadays. You know,
do with you being glutton or whatever, whatnot, and it hurts. That's one of them. So
yeah. So my wife said, she said, if somebody says anything that they're proud, then they're saying they're proud that they look the way that they do and love themselves. There you go. That's pretty much it. The people on TikTok who are fucking insane that say, like, if you won't fuck a fat person, then you're fat phobic. Those people are stupid. People on TikTok that say that if you lose weight, then you're fat phobic. Those people are stupid. People on TikTok who tell you that you, like, all this kind of shit, that's stupid. But if somebody's like, hey, love yourself, that's just supposed to be like a positive mental health thing, bro. Because like if you're sadder, you have a more likely, like, there's the less chance that you're going to work on yourself. If you hate yourself, you're not going to work on yourself. I feel like this comes down to like a fundamental lack of understanding of fat people, which makes sense because these two aren't fat. But I'm fat as fuck, right? So I get it. And I know you're sitting there, oh, the only reason you're defending this is because you're fat. Yeah, of course. That's why fucking black people defend fucking black rights. Fat people, you know what I'm saying? Of course. I know what it's like to hate myself, bro. That's the saddest part of it all, bro. That's to say, I know what it's like to hate myself for my weight. You know what I'm saying, dude? I know what it's like to hate myself because I had a bad day. And it's like a really bad day. I had a day where I worked, you know, 40, 50, 60 hours. And I got treated like shit at work. And I was trying to diet, and I had to choose between sticking to my diet or feeling a little bit good about myself in the short term. And it's not a good choice. And it's easy to say in hindsight, you should have made the better choice. Ain't that fucking easy, bro. It sucks, dude. It's sad. And I'll tell you right now, bro, when I hated myself for being fat, that was the point in my life where I cared the least about losing weight. Did I say 40 hours a day? Or did I say 40 hours? I'm in a week. Bro, come on. Don't railroad me on that shit. 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Did I say a fucking day? Whatever. But yeah, man, I'm telling you, when the time I felt the most motivated to lose weight was when I loved myself the most, when I was happier the most with myself. You know what I'm saying? And like that's what it's about. That's all it's about. It's just about being like, hey, I'm okay with myself. You know what I mean? That's it. It's really just that simple. You know, there's very few people who are sitting here that are like, I love my fat body and I'm going to stay fat forever because it's my favorite. There are people who do that. They take it too far. But that's not who the movement's for. The movement's for everybody. The movement's for the nurse that just got out of a 12-hour shift that's, you know, eating like shit. For the bus driver who can't really work, who's working overtime to feed their family and can't really get out and exercise. It's for those people who don't have a whole lot of extra time to make them like themselves a little bit more, just enough for them to have more energy. You know, it's about making, you know, you loving yourself just enough to go to the doctor to start getting your shit handled. Because I'll tell you one of the biggest things, the hardest, it's when you feel like shit, you don't move that much. And I'll tell you that going to the doctor and getting medication for my diabetes, for my cholesterol, for my blood pressure, that made me feel tremendously better. Now my wife and I, we're taking walks every day. We're starting slow. You know, when you go to the doctor every 3 months and then they tell you what your levels are, it doesn't make you go like, oh, this is fine. Like, you know what I mean? It's just about being able to handle it. It's about like the mental health aspect associated with being fat. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, bro. So,
you have it's not just you're fat and you equal this. That's the thing. It's just the thing that he's trying to do. Okay, it's just that being fat does not equal. There's other things that could be there.
Can we not shame people for vices? You could do whatever you want, my brother in Christ, but understand that you're not having a positive impact. You can shame people for being fat if you want, but you're not having a positive impact. You're like bullying fat people doesn't make people less fat. You know, losing weight's a big process. So just being like, we should all shame and hate fat people. It doesn't make fat people feel better. It doesn't make fat people lose weight, or we wouldn't have fat people. It would be that simple, but we ain't there, bro.
There's other things that can be It doesn't mean that you're a glutton or that you are eating in excess or whatever. You can have different conditions.
You're obviously eating in excess.
I understand where you're coming from.
I'm going to just disagree outright. And the reason why I'm going to disagree is there's a reason why in Western countries, especially in places like North America and England, there's far more obesity than anywhere else. You can talk about the exceptions. You can talk about the outliers. But the vast majority of the reason why people are massively overweight and dying from comorbidities and different diseases like that, it's not because of these diseases. Now, if you want to talk about the exceptions.
No, but that, I agree with that.
Hold on.
What is funny is, though, like, although we are the fattest countries, we have the highest life expectancies, so it's kind of like a funny little thing.
Talk about the exceptions, right? You can be like, not all, listen, nobody's talking about all when we're having these conversations. And if someone does have what you're describing, which is a sickness like lipidemia or whatever, I still don't want to celebrate that. You can go through whatever you're going through your body. Nobody needs to shame you, but we don't need to be out here talking about this weight is great. Oh, you're beautiful at your body. It's not. It's not. And at the end of the day,
yeah, bro, like, you just don't get it. That's like that's just the reality. You just don't get it. You know, I wouldn't expect this guy to get it, but he just doesn't get it. You know,
these are risks, and so when I see these,
like, this is one of the things that always gets me. It's like, do you think that, like, we don't understand what? This is one of the things that gets me. It's like, bro, like, who are you talking to? Oh, it's unhealthy. I mean, bro, I don't. Do you think that I don't know that it's unhealthy to be fat? You know what I mean? It's just like one of those frustrating. You know what's unhealthy to be fat? Yeah, man, I do. I know that like my worst time, my fucking blood sugar was like at 400. I was fucked. I know that there are foods where like I would eat them and like my feet would hurt. You know what I mean? And like compared to where I was last year, I'm profoundly healthier. You know what I mean? It's a slow process, but and I know that. It feels horrible to be fat. You don't want to be this fat. I'm just letting you guys know. But again, like you're just not getting it, bro. You just don't get it. You know, you just don't get it. It's not. It's one of those things where don't you know this? It's like, yeah, don't you know the sky's blue? Yo, fuck, I never knew that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So,
kind of events that celebrate this stuff, and it's evidence of something sick culturally speaking. In the black community, obesity is just a thing, much more prevalent than in other communities. So sure enough, when the Rona hits, guess what happens?
Decimated.
Minority communities are especially targeted due to high blood pressure, pre-existing conditions, etc., stuff like that.
But it's not because they're fat; it's because of
because it's racist or whatever.
Yeah.
Obesity is not something light. Like in terms of how it affects us as a general population, the
who's saying racist? What?
outcomes are extremely negative for most people. You don't.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times the reason that like shit's so unhealthy in black communities is because like food deserts and shit. There's like lack of access to decent food in poor areas, generally speaking. That's really what it comes down to. And I know that black people didn't want to take the fucking vaccine. Like higher, like they want to take it. They took it at like lower rates than most other people. So like, yeah, of course there's going to be, and that's like issues with like not trusting the system and shit. I get it, but okay. But who said it was because of racisms? Like, I feel like we're just targeting like outliers, like edge case people who are fucking insane, and we're just like, yeah, that's it.
I don't know about you. How many people you see make it to 70, 80, 90 who are obese? I can't think of one.
And those who make it are not anymore.
They don't get to be. They either have to change their ways or they die.
Yeah. Monique was promoting.
Oh, there's a lot of overweight people at those ages. Usually, as you get older, you just get less mobile and you start to gain some weight. But okay.
Girls, everything. She had a whole bit about skinny bitches.
No,
right?
no, yeah.
She had a whole
why
bit
does this matter? Okay.
about skinny bitches.
Like, who's fucking saying it? It's awesome to be overweight. Like, nobody's saying that other than like a few edge cases.
When she first started, I remember that number. Talk about skinny bitches, and that was big, right? Black community again, talking about skinny bitches and stuff like that. Look at Monique now. You see Monique recently?
No.
Okay.
Lost all that weight?
Okay, but like, not for nothing.
Bitches and stuff like that. Look at Monique now. You see?
So you're praising Monique for losing weight. By the way, good for her. She looks great. She's just as fat, if not fatter, than those girls you showed in the beginning. So, like, how are you going to praise her for her health now? And she does look good. She's probably healthy as fuck. But do you see, like, how are you going to praise her for her health? She's still fat. She's probably healthy as fuck. Good for her. But you're criticizing all these other girls for being fat when they're just as, if not, like, skinnier than her. It's like, you see where we come from? It's like, oh, fat equals unhealthy in every case. It's like, bro, you're not being nuanced at all, bro. Like, you're just kind of... It's just fucking... It's just crazy, dude.
Monique recently?
No. Lost all that weight? If she want to live.
Okay.
As you get older, all that talk is not cute no more. You cutting off ankles? You cutting off limbs?
Everything hurts. No, but everything. That's if you have, like... diabetes and stuff like that, but it's just everything hurts as well. It's a lot of strain on your joints and shit. It is.
I remember when COVID hit, I got really, really sad, partially because I knew how much it was affecting our community. And that was like a thing that was common, and you know, you would see news reports of these big ladies talking about, "Ooh, I don't give a fuck. We here in Florida gonna party," and like 3 weeks later, you find out the same lady who was on that video died from Rona, right? Pre-existing condition, high blood pressure, whatever, and. It's just sad because so many people from our community get removed. We already deal with enough jailing issues, with enough crime issues, with all this stuff. Now we're losing people to stuff that with proper choices. But again, you also have to acknowledge, right? There's also the societal aspect. You also live in a country where walking is much more difficult because getting anywhere is not encouraged. Like, one thing I appreciated spending time like traveling is you get to see how other people live. Other people's lifestyles are just far more conducive to healthier living. Of course, there's a matter of personal choices. But anybody who's addicted, anybody who's got like serious like impulse problems will tell you accessibility generally is one of the biggest issues with relapsing or making bad choices. Meaning, like, if you are prone to taking bad substances, okay, not keeping them anywhere near you will help you to stay away from them, generally speaking. Sure. If you just leave that stuff near somebody who's like really severely addicted to sugars or whatever, it's not gonna be good. So when you live in these neighborhoods where there's like shitty access to foods, like, yeah, it does raise the likelihood for bad outcomes.
Sure. And another problem is too is like whether you want to, you know, at the end of the day, you have to eat. You know what I mean? Like, you have to eat. So even if you're trying to cut your shit down and you're eating like shit, I mean, it doesn't exactly help, you know. Because you got to eat, bro. You know, so it's one of those things. I don't know. I know that like when I'm feeling like shit, when I'm feeling like eating, a lot of times I'm like, what's the most convenient? You know what I mean? It doesn't really help out. You know, it's hard to make those little choices. So
I absolutely agree with the personal choices mattering in this situation, but I also think that society can't engineer itself to give people optimal choices that are healthy as well. Our societies are not geared towards that, and they're not geared towards walking to work. They're not geared towards taking public transportation, because a lot of places public transportation is unusable.
Especially in the U.S.
you have to walk to work. Just go for a walk.
Listen, that is true for a lot of places.
Walking. Can you walk in LA?
Listen, I live there. You can't walk there. You can't walk there.
But you can't walk in Florida either.
Because the thing, you take 2 hours to get to work and back, you're dying on public transport. That's also unhealthy for you. So me spending time in Europe, me spending time in different places, I got to see how effective these systems work.
Walk in New York.
It's like, oh my God, what a difference it makes.
Yeah, you can cold turkey cigarettes, but you can't with food. Exactly, bro. That's why it's so much easier for me to quit cigarettes than fucking food, dude. I've been craving one too, but like, it's not the same thing, you know?
You know what I mean? You're burning a bunch of calories just walking places, walking up hills. You see old ladies over there in like Portugal, right? Just walking up big ass steep hills because they've been doing it their whole lives. Certain cultural and societal factors encourage this kind of healthier living, right? There's not a fast food joint at every corner. Guess what? Now they got bakeries. They got little mom and pop shops.
True. And our fast food's less healthy though, so I'm gonna tell you that much. Like, my understanding is, like, in other countries, they have higher standards for their food. They also have smaller portion sizes. Bro, my wife and I went to Sonic the other day, and we're like, you know what? We want to make, like, a healthier choice. It wasn't a healthy choice. We made a healthier choice. So I got a small, and she got a mini ice cream. She got, like, a little treat. Instead, we used to get larges, because, you get your most bang for your buck. That's what I look at. I'm like, let me get a small. Bro, that fucking small was big, motherfucker. That small, I'll just show you this. This is my cool My Hero Academia cup. It was as big as this fucking cup. A small was this big. It's like, God fucking damn. That ain't small, dude. In another country, it's probably a large. Probably a fucking... It's probably a fucking large, dude. It's crazy. It's fucking nuts.
You wish that in a lot of poor areas where obesity is far more prevalent, that these things were accessible. So it's not like I'm lacking in empathy. I'm not like unable to understand how it's much more easy in these kind of environments to become like that. I mean, one of the saddest things, I'm not gonna lie to you, was watching, I think, the Life Channel and seeing these hugely fat, obese parents fattening their kids.
I'm gonna be real with you guys. I'll watch my 600-pound life, and I'll be like, at least it ain't me. Listen, because I said before, a lot of people will look at fat people in society based off of like, oh, that's gross. I don't want to be fat. I get it, because I do the same thing when it's fucking 600-pound life, bro. I'm like, damn, how'd you get so big? And people probably think the same thing about me, you know? It's just real, brother. I don't know what to tell you. It's real. You know?
So I'm talking about these kids already got high blood pressure by the time they're in their teens. How do you even fix that? Your parents fucked you over. Yeah. Your parents birthed you and said, bitch, we're going to take you back to the grave before we even get there. We're going to give you bone problems, joint problems, by the time you haven't even hit 20. So I don't lack in understanding, like, sometimes the stuff around you really makes it harder.
Yeah,
okay?
Of course.
And it's not easy. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, we don't have to exacerbate the issue by telling people, oh my God, this is so beautiful. Oh, we don't have to do that. We can say it's okay to love yourself. It's okay to say you want better for yourself.
That's what that is. That is what that is, just so you know.
And that you're okay with where you are, but you're going to get better, because it takes a long time. It's a long journey for people, okay?
Yeah, but you guys are, like, not for nothing, because I'm feeling the message. But you guys, this started off because of, like, where are we at? We're at 12 minutes. This started off because of this. Because of these women. This started because we saw this. And we were like, we got to talk shit about fat people.
Boom.
Like, this girl's not real. This girl's probably healthy.
Right.
This girl's probably a healthy weight.
Boom. Right.
This girl's probably a healthy weight.
Right. Boom.
This girl's probably... All I'm saying, I'm not them, and I'm not their fucking doctor. What I know is that if I had that much body fat on me, I would be healthy. I'd be healthy. I already know that I would. I guarantee you that I'd be healthy. I'm fucking 350 pounds, bro. Those girls are proportionally much smaller than I am. I would be healthy, dude. I'm just telling you. Right?
Oh.
That she's probably healthy.
All right. Boom.
She's probably healthy. Like, these girls are probably healthy.
Boom.
All right, we get it. My point here is that, like, this started off jumping off of them as, like, we got to talk shit about fat people. Oh, we got to talk about fat people. Maybe I'm not being accurate when I say talk shit. It's like, those girls are probably not healthy. And then you praised Monique for losing weight at some point, which was good, but then she weighed just as much as those fat girls in the beginning. And then we went on a tangent about being fat and unhealthy. And I'm just saying, bro, That's one of the parts that's missing. And then we're going like, oh, you shouldn't love being fat. Nobody loves being fat. It's just about loving yourself while you're fat. That's it, bro. That's it.
For people, okay? Weight loss doesn't have to be a 3-month thing. It could be 3, 4, 5 years. But I dislike this kind of like, as you are, you're really good. It's like, no.
Nobody's really saying that though. Very few people are saying that.
No. That's not the case.
When you say that the Western world there's more fat people and everything and stuff, I get that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm not disputing that at all. I understand what you're saying, so we actually agree on that.
Do men and women have different health standards when it comes to weight? Probably. I think women can hold like a bit more weight on them because like of estrogen and like all that shit, you know. And also women hold on to every fucking thing you ever do in your life, and they're like just so they can bring it up whenever they want, and that just kind of weighs them down and makes them a little chunkier, you know.
Saying yeah, there's exceptions. Now that being said, when people say you're at risk, you have to understand as well that I'm just really understanding both sides, right? I think that when people say you're at risk of if you're in that predicament, it just doesn't automatically mean that you're gonna have that, but you are in a higher risk of having XYZ, high blood pressure, whatever, name it. You're at risk,
bro. You know what it is that's getting me here is that like, okay, you know what's getting me here that's like annoying to me, and again I'm fat, so of course you're gonna be like, oh, you're fat, you have no shit. Is that what the fuck, like, where's the fat guy in the conversation? Like, where's the fat guy in the where's the fat girl in the conversation? Like, I'm not sure. I get it because this is their channel and I do the same shit. Like, there's shit I talk about that I don't know what the fuck I'm on about, and I think I do. But it's like, who are you telling this to? You know, health risk when you're fat. Oh, dude, I never would have guessed. You know what I mean? Like, you're telling skinny people something that like we all pretty much already know without like a super connected perspective to like what's going on here. It's like, yeah, I know that, bro. Who are you telling this to? This isn't for fat people. You're not like no fat person's like, Abba preach. I never thought of it that way. I'm unhealthy. Fuck. Like I fucking didn't even know. Yeah, we know that. We already know. As a representative of the fattest fucks in the world, we already know that we're unhealthy, my brother in Christ. We get it. You know what I'm saying? So who's this message being delivered to? Is this message for fat people? Not really. Because fat people are just like, well, we already know this shit. Is this message for your audience? Is this I'm not trying to be a dick. Is this message to virtue signal to your audience about how it's bad to be fat? Like, we already know that. You know what I mean? Like, what was the point of this video? Was the point of this video to kind of bully fat women and then like make it seem like you had a reasonable argument behind it? Because that's how it feels. And that's not me saying fuck these two, because I like Ab and Preach a lot. I'm just saying, who the fuck are you talking to? Nothing you said has been like, that's so fucking profound for me. This is basic ass shit, motherfucker. You know, focus on like what people can do, what small steps people can take. And I'll give them credit that they talked about it a little bit. Not really enough, but there's plenty of video left. Well, I'm just saying, dude, like, we know that. And you're kind of like, you're punching a ghost in the dark. You're just like, yeah, I don't like it when people say that they should love being fat. There's very few people saying you should love that you're fat. They're saying that you should love yourself even if you're fat so that you're happier. That's it, motherfucker. That's the whole argument.
It's a risk. It doesn't matter. That doesn't mean that you automatically have it, but you are at risk. You are. So that I think that whenever people hear the at risk, they bypass the at risk and they automatically think, yeah, you just told me that I absolute. They speak in absolute. So yeah, no, I do agree with you.
Maybe this is more so just something I noticed when these conversations unfold.
What happens?
I noticed that whenever the points of like obesity super rampant, the first thing they'll reply you'll hear is like, all right, well, you know, just because people on the BMI scale overrepresent doesn't mean they're sure. Oh, well, you know what? Some people have conditions and need gastric bypass. Sure. It feels like everything is always just deviating from the main point, which is like, yo, we're just too fucking unhealthy. You want to talk about all these outliers? That's fine. I just noticed like this is brought up and it's immediately like, well, you know, some people are sick because, listen, most people are just sick because they're fat and they make bad choices. That's the truth. Either they inherited those bad choices from their parents, maybe it's a mixture of genetics as well. The truth is, most people are just fat. Let's just focus on that. The people who have a different issue, let them go to a different conversation. But most people are just fat because bad choices. Once we can get past that.
But yeah, we know that. It's just like what manifests the bad choices. You know what I'm saying? Because if you ask anybody, do you want to be fat? They're going to be like, well, of course not. So it really comes down to like why they're making the bad choices. And like because same thing with like any bad choice you make in your life. It's usually like some kind of an external thing, like cope eating or fucking stress eating or like bad relationship with food, other shit like that. That's not an excuse to be fat. It's just like acknowledging what's going on. And some people take it too far and use it as an excuse. But, you know, there's that fine line between excuse versus reason, you know?
And just move past that, not to be like mad at folks, but just to say like, yo, this is bad not only for the individuals involved, but for society as a whole. How do we make things better? Now, folks are going to say, well, the antidote is body positivity. I don't know if that's true. let's talk about solutions. I do not believe that when I see body positivity in the way that it's exemplified in these kinds of fashion shows, I think is encouraging people to get healthy. However, I will say that when folks just go out of their way to shame people and yell at them, that's not helping either. Okay? I don't think you got to go to somebody's obese and yell at them or shame them. Now, some folks are going to reply and say, oh, well, actually, I was shamed and it helped me get... Maybe it worked for you. Maybe you're...
But that's not necessarily
That's not most people, okay?
Yeah.
Most people, so you give them...
What it sounds like they're saying here right now is that like we shouldn't show fat people representation in society, but we also shouldn't shame them. That seems to be like what we're saying here. Okay. So it's like, I just don't want to see those fat fucks. I don't know. The reason that the fat positive... Excuse me for my voice. It's getting a little raspy. The reason that the fat positivity movement exists is because of societal shaming and bullying, just for the mere existence of fat people. So when you say, I don't think it's ideal for us to be glorifying fatness, and then you say, but I also don't think we should shame people, it's like, okay, but this glorification of fatness, and I say that loosely, comes from this insane shaming of fat people. And it didn't work, by the way. It didn't make people less fucking fat. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's the outcome of the shaming. And now it's like, especially for women, because women get valued on their bodies more than men. It's just the reality.
Negative stimuli, sometimes they just retreat from it. They don't all need the same kind of treatment.
Yeah.
And so if we're just thinking about what's best as a solution for people,
Yeah.
I would say that you are respectful people, but you also don't go around encouraging it or going Yas Queen when they say they're fat and they've been eating Twinkies all day or whatever the fuck.
Nobody's doing that, like, for real. It's just like it's a fucking, you're fighting a ghost right now.
Poor choices or exercise choices they've been making. Just
You don't think that it enables people to make bad habits? Bro, I don't even know how to talk to you. Like I said, okay, there's a fine line between like accepted, like here's, like I kept saying, like very explicitly clear. Bullying fat people didn't make less fat people. It made more fat people. The body positivity movement is an outcome from bullying to make fat people feel like they don't have to fucking hate themselves. The idea is to make fat people not hate themselves so that they love themselves more, so that they're more willing to lose weight. All right, fat people aren't going to magically just go away. You're always going to be able to like, you're always going to be able to come up with the problem. But realistically speaking, that's it. That's it. That's where it comes from. And those women that were modeling, bro, yeah, they look fucking good. So who gives a shit?
because it doesn't mean at risk should scare you. It should frighten you. I don't know what else to tell you.
What does at risk mean, by the way? Like at risk, like if you're a little overweight and you have no health problems, then who fucking cares? Like what does at risk mean?
Putting your head in a microwave, not good for you. Oh, actually, it only puts you at risk for, yeah, okay, sure. It's not good for you. Get that through your head. It puts you at risk for a lot of issues if you just...
People already know this. You're talking to nobody. You're talking to like an outlier, magical fucking unicorn person that you could find on the internet, because the internet's great at propping up fucking morons. Like,
stick your head in the microwave and turn that bitch on for 3 hours.
That was a hard pill to swallow for myself.
Okay.
At some point when I was not good. You know what I mean? You're like, oh shit, I'm actually not good. And it's really like a hit. It's really a hit in the face when...
Doctor?
When the numbers are there and they show you that shit.
You're gonna die if you keep doing like this.
Keep doing you, boo-boo. But if you do, you're gonna be a whole rapper down at 50.
Yeah, man.
And it's what it is. It really hurts. And sometimes you think people are doing that because, yo, they're doing that to hurt me, or they're saying some mean things, or whatever. No, sometimes it's actually the opposite. You say something because you are concerned and you want the best for friends. You want the best for the people around you. You want the best. You want the best for your homies and shit. And people really take it personal. The thing in life, whenever you have a disagreement with someone, don't assume, and that's what we often do, don't assume that the person is mean. Assume that they either don't know or they want your good. After that, assume that they want to get you out. But it's often not the case. The person doesn't want to they don't want necessarily to take you out or diss you or whatever, whatnot.
Okay. I guess. Listen, I don't know, because that's such because what they're fundamentally saying is, hey, just because somebody gives you a criticism on your weight doesn't mean that they're mean. Yeah, but also I'm a grown fucking man and you don't need to talk to me about my shit. Here's the thing, and this mixes with being fat, but also I'm a grown man. I don't need to be police. Like, my doctor and me are the only people that it matters, and my wife. My doctor and my wife. Those are the only people who need to give me any criticism when it comes to my weight. I don't really need my friends walking around being like, you know, you're fat. Yeah, thanks, you fucking idiot. I understand that. I'll tell you that, like, the worst criticism I've gotten about my weight, and like, yeah, friends and family too. Like, it's about your, like, that's different. Friends and family criticizing on your weight is different from fucking strangers. You know what I'm saying? Those are different. You know, everybody has their circle. I'll tell you one thing that, like, the worst experience I ever had with like my weight is when I was 14 years old. And when I was 14, I was fat, but I was a very athletic fat. I was very like YMCA, a lot of sports, a lot of shit like that. And I'm gonna tell you right now, this is the time I met my around the time I met my sister. I had like a half sister from like my father. So I met her. We went and hung out. So it was my mom, me, my sister, and my sister's mom. So I was like 14, I think. She was like 12. And one of the first things that this woman, her mom, said to me was like, "Oh, you know, you'd be you have such a cute face. You'd be more attractive if you lost weight." And it's like, where's the productiveness from like basically a fucking stranger? And that's really what it comes down to. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, if your friends and shit are, that's your inner circle for sure. But like, let's keep in mind that strangers don't need to be criticizing people for I'm a grown man. I don't need some fucking dickhead across the street be like, yeah, you know, you're fat. You're not helping. You're not productive. You're just pissing me off. You know? So there's like a difference. There's a difference between these two things, you know?
It just hurts. And the truth hurts sometimes.
Okay, cool video. Yeah, I do have abs under the gut. Yeah. That's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. You know what I think more than anything else we should have more conversations about when it comes to this is that when it comes to these models who are a little overweight, them being more open about like their fitness routines. Because a lot of these girls that are overweight, whether you want to believe it or not, are working out. They're working out a lot more than people are saying. And that's the biggest issue I think I would have. Is like you got big girls that are models and they're working out. They're keeping themselves fit in different ways. They're like they're toning their different parts of their body in different ways. You know, and they're not telling us about it. And so like that might give some people the wrong idea. You know? So, and that again, let's recap. Like that's kind of the biggest issue is that this is what started this conversation is like overweight women that probably aren't even unhealthy. And that's where we started. That's where we started to have the conversation about fat people because this picture was so triggering to Abbott and Preach for some reason that they felt the need to be like, we got to have a whole conversation about fat people. It's like, why is this the talking point? Like this is what I'm saying. Like, this is ignorance. Like, these women, I doubt have any health problems. I just doubt it that are associated with their weight. They're not really that overweight. And that's where we started off. It's like, why would we start here? It just seems kind of weird. It just seems like it just kind of seemed like let's make some content for the day. I saw a fat bitch. Let's talk about that. You know what I mean? You know? And listen, you correct me if I'm wrong, but the overwhelming amount of conversations that centralize around fat people, it's always women. It's always talking about women. Every single time. I watch Abbott and Preach. I could be wrong about this, but I would guarantee you that the conversations about fat people are disproportionately fat women. It's always when it's a woman. Never when it's a guy. It's always when it's a woman. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, low-hanging fruit. It's easy. It's like I'm just saying, bro. You know? Fat women are always shamed more. It's because women struggle more when it comes to like their fucking obesity in society, bro. You know what I mean? Crazy. You know? And again, yeah. And at the end of the day, I don't know, bro. It's enough of that. It's enough of that video. Somebody asked me before, though, they're like, does this make you change your perspective of ABBA? Why would it make me change my perspective of ABBA? Like, or Preach? Like, I still like them. They just, like, you know, I'm just, there's shit that we disagree with. It's fucking, everyone, thank you so much for watching. And a special shout out to all my Patreon patrons, my YouTube members, and my Twitch subs. If you'd like to learn how you can contribute even more than you already are by simply watching the video, you can check the links down below, which will unlock a special feature depending on the platform that you subscribe to, such as Patreon here that will get your name right here on this wall. Thank you so much, guys, again for watching, and have a good one.